Okay, so I wanted to start out with a love song, probably the greatest love song that was ever sang by a video game bad guy. So if you know the words, please sing along. It's fairly recent, so in the 2020s, I believe it was 2023. So, I don't know, maybe some of you haven't heard it, but perhaps some of you have. All right, I didn't practice that much, so I was trying to get the chords in. This one is for my one and only true love. Princess Peach. Peach, you're so cool, and with my star we're gonna rule. Peach, understand, I'm gonna love you till the very end. Peaches, 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 I love you. Oh, peaches, 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 I love you. Oh. I can't quite do it as well as Jack Black. Mario, Luigi, and Donkey Kong too. 1,000 troops of Koopas couldn't keep me from you. Princess Peach at the end of the line. I'll make you mine. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Peaches. Oh, peaches, peaches. Ah! If you heard the song, that's actually how it ends. For most of you, you're probably like, what is wrong with this guy? All right, so how many of you knew that song? Okay, all right. Maybe a third of you? Very good, all right. And so I assume those people who have heard the song have also seen the movie Super Mario Brothers, the movie about Super Mario and his brother. But the villain in the movie is Bowser, who is a Koopa, which is a turtle-like creature. And his goal really is to have Peach, and to have Peach marry him, and then for them to be together. But he is not taking into account how Peach feels. And so Peach does not want this, and they end up in a conflict, which sets up the conflict for the movie. So I won't tell you any more in case you haven't seen it, which a lot of people haven't, so you can go watch it when you go home. But I wanted to start with that one because today I wanted to talk about compassion. Does everyone remember from New Year's service what the three things our tagline is for the 125th anniversary? Compassion, culture, community. Is it in that order? Whatever. As long as you got them all, it's okay. All right. So those are the three things for our 125th anniversary. That's what we're celebrating this year. Sacramento Bethune is 125 years old. Very amazing. And so I wanted to speak a little bit on each one of those things again this month. So you'll be seeing me. I'll be speaking 3 Sundays in a row, I think. So those three, and I'll do those 3 again. And we'll be talking about 125th in general throughout the year. But I wanted to start off again. So with compassion, compassion is something that we hold up as very important within our tradition in Buddhism. But I think it gets maybe misconstrued a little bit, where when people think of compassion, what are some things you think of? What are words that come to mind? Empathy? Was it? Kindness? caring, right? Anything else? Understanding? Okay, maybe it's not so misunderstood. Because I feel like when people hear compassion, they think of being kind or being nice, which is not wrong. However, true compassion gets a little bit deeper than that. And so a couple of those words, empathy, understanding, that's really being compassionate. Being compassionate to someone, you have to understand them. You have to know how they feel. You have to know what they think, to know who they are. And only when you do that can you truly be compassionate. Because if you're only worried about yourself or how you're feeling, then it's impossible to be compassionate. So taking this example of Bowser, he was only thinking about his own desire, only thing that he wanted. He wanted to be married to Peach, and he had not taken into account what Princess Peach wanted, what she wanted, how she felt, what she wanted in life, who she was. And because of that, he was not very kind to her. And so you can see in the movie what happens at the end. But this is the opposite of what we wanted to do. Now, as human beings, it's impossible for us to actually completely know another human being, right? We can't be inside their head, we can't know. We can talk to them, try to listen the best we can and try to understand, but we never quite get there. So it takes a little bit of work and patience and understanding. But if we really try to work at it, then we can build these incredible relationships where we have that deep compassion, that deep understanding. Now, to give another example of maybe how not to be compassionate would be not to listen. And this isn't necessarily a malicious or even a selfish thing, but sometimes we just can't listen. And so to take an example from my married life, my wife and I recently were working on our office. So she works from home and needed to get like a new setup so that it was easier for her, like a standing desk and stuff. It's supposed to be very good for your body, your posture. And we focused on hers first, get that done, and then my desk in the office, I was trying to figure out what to do with the space afterwards with, where I would be. And so we ended up getting, so I had this great idea. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of in this corner here. It would be a great idea for me to get an L desk. And so I told her, yeah, isn't that a great idea? L desk? Everyone knows what an L desk, right? Desk shaped like an L? Okay, all right. And so my wife said, yes, that is a great idea. When I told you about a month ago. So apparently, and I absolutely believe this happened, she had told me like, oh yeah, you should get an L desk because you're in that corner there. And I was like, nah, I don't need that much space, it's okay. And then, like a month later, I'm like, you know what? It'd be really good to have an L desk. So that was an example of not really listening. But on the flip side, of course, to give an example of really understanding and really listening would be how my wife listens and she understands me. So I recently have found that I am self-diagnosed autistic. So I'm on the spectrum. I have ADHD as well. This pandemic and years after that have been very, a lot of self-understanding, realization, when a lot of my life previously had started to make sense because of that. But anyway, there's a lot of challenges that come with being, so it's like neurodivergent, different from neurotypical people, the majority of people, how they think, right? And it is, of course, very difficult to be in a relationship with someone who is neurodivergent, someone who's on the spectrum because we think differently than most people. But my wife has been very understanding and very caring, and she's been very patient with the certain things that come up. So one of them, which is sort of characteristic, is that I'll take things much too literally. So when people are trying to say something and it has sort of like a figurative meaning versus the literal meaning, then I won't quite pick up on it all the time. So one time someone was telling me like, oh yeah, I ran to the store the other day. And I was like, how far is the store? Like you ran all the way over there, you ran back with your groceries. But that's not what they meant, right? It was they took their car and they drove, but they kind of went quickly, I guess. I guess people say that. But my wife, I was talking to her, and so I enjoy cooking. I tried making chicken pot pie, which is very delicious, right? The one from Recalendars or the one from Costco. And so it's like, all right, I want to try making that because we have leftover chicken, and the underside of the crust did not cook, so it wasn't, the top was okay, but the bottom was not good. Anyway, talking about putting things into the pie, and so I said, okay, which one do you want? Do you want frozen corn or do you want canned corn? And so she says, well, what's the difference? And in my head, I'm going, well, one is frozen and one is canned. But she caught herself before I could say that, and she said, what's the difference in taste? And so I was like, oh, okay, that's what you were asking. And so it's been a series of things like this where, she's, most people would understand what she's trying to ask, but I don't all the time, and she's been very caring and understanding. And so for me, I feel very loved. I feel the compassion that she shows me. It makes me feel good and feel happy, and so I really appreciate her, and this is a great example of compassion and understanding that we have in our life. So obviously, my wife and I being together for a long time, she's able to develop that working together with me. And so with each and every one of us, again, it takes sort of a time, sort of a length of time to build that up. You can't just meet somebody and immediately think that there's going to be this sort of understanding. Obviously, with some people, there's more than others. But over time, you have to develop this sense of compassion. Now, going back to our 125th anniversary, over 125 years, that's a long time, right? So there's a lot of potential to develop compassion there, right? And I feel like if you feel that connection to the temple, then you can feel that compassion as well, right? Everyone that had started the temple 125 years ago, they're not here. However, we can still feel the compassion that they have for us, all that they cared for their families, their generations, the other families, everyone that would be able to go to this temple. And so in being able to feel that love, feel all of the energy, the empathy, all the understanding that they did for what our needs would ultimately be, what can we do this year and into the future to perpetuate that same kind of compassion? So it starts, of course, with us understanding ourselves, having love for ourselves, reaching out to the people the closest to us who we can have that opportunity to show, and then branching out even further to people who maybe we aren't so close to, we haven't met, and people who are not even born yet, right? So people who we can try to think about, understand that we'll never get a chance to meet, and yet we can still offer them our compassion. So with that in mind, we're again kicking off this wonderful year of the 125th. I wish all of you a very compassionate year. And it starts with all of us with that kind of practice in understanding. If you please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Dabutsu. Naman Dabutsu. Naman Dabutsu.